Day 8, January 5th, 2026. The decision, knowing when to stop. Day 8 was the day I made a critical decision, January 5th, 2026. This was the final day of my dry fast, though I hadn't planned it that way originally. The numbers: weight 202.8 pounds, down 17.2 pounds from my starting weight of 220, waist 41.5 inches, holding steady from yesterday, energy 8 out of 10, improved from yesterday's 7, mood 9 out of 10. Significantly better than yesterday's 6, 17.2 pounds in 8 days. I was now under the psychologically significant 205-pound mark, and I was tantalizingly close to breaking 200, a milestone I hadn't seen in a very long time. Let me tell you about the decision I made on day 8. Originally, I had planned a 10-day fast. At various points, I considered extending to 14 days. But on day 8, after careful consideration of how my body was responding, I decided to end the fast. I wrote in my journal, so I have decided to go from a 14-day fast to a 7-day fast because the way I am feeling on day 8, I don't know if I can push it to 14 days. There's a discrepancy in my numbers there. I said 7-day, but I was on day 8. What I meant was I was stopping at 8 days instead of pushing to 14. This wasn't weakness. This wasn't failure. This was wisdom. Let me explain what led to this decision. That morning I went for a 2-mile walk, 2 miles, on day 8 of a dry fast. And during that walk, I started to feel it stronger than I had on day 7. The body was communicating clearly, we're reaching the limit of what's comfortable and safe for this particular fast. I wrote, this was a conscious decision I made after I went for a 2-mile walk this morning and started to feel it stronger than day 7, which is when most people break their prolonged dry fasts. There's an important principle here that I want you to understand. The goal of extended fasting isn't to push to the absolute maximum possible duration. The goal is to get the benefits while respecting the body's signals. Most experienced dry fasters break their fasts at day 7 or 8, not because they're weak, but because that's the sweet spot between maximum benefit and minimal risk. I could have pushed to day 10, maybe even day 14, but at what cost? The diminishing returns weren't worth the increasing risks. Let me share what 8 days of dry fasting accomplished. Weight lost, 17.2 pounds. Waist lost, 4 inches. Energy, still good at 810. Mood, recovered to 910. These are exceptional results, comparable to what many people achieve with months of traditional dieting. The autophagy that occurred during these 8 days was profound. Cellular cleanup at maximum intensity for nearly 200 hours. Damaged proteins recycled. Dysfunctional mitochondria cleared. Senescent cells eliminated. The insulin reset was significant. 8 days of minimal insulin exposure. Insulin sensitivity dramatically improved. The foundation laid for better metabolic function going forward. The fat loss was real and substantial, not just water weight, actual adipose tissue converted to energy and metabolic water. 8 days was enough. 8 days was success. I want to talk about the refeeding protocol I planned. This is where the brisket signaling concept becomes crucial. After 8 days of dry fasting, I wasn't going to break the fast with a large meal. That would be disastrous. It would spike insulin, overwhelm a digestive system that had been dormant, and potentially cause refeeding syndrome symptoms. Instead, I planned a careful, staged reintroduction. First, a teaspoon of baking soda in water, sipped slowly. This would alkalize my highly acidic stomach before introducing anything else. Second, coconut water, sipped slowly over time. This would begin gentle rehydration with natural electrolytes. Third, waiting at least 18 hours before any solid food. The gut needed time to wake up. Fourth, bone broth before any substantial food. Easy to digest, nutrient-dense, gentle on the system. And finally, when I was ready for solid food, a 1/4 pound of lean brisket. Not a feast, not a celebration meal. A precise signaling meal to communicate to my body, preserve muscle, maintain the metabolic state. I want to address why I was so close to 200 pounds, but didn't push through to reach it. At 202.8 pounds, I was just 2.8 pounds away from breaking the 200-pound barrier. Part of me desperately wanted to continue fasting until I hit that milestone. But here's what I wrote: so close to breaking 200, which is my goal, but I just couldn't go for day 9 of the dry fast. The body's signals trumped the psychological desire for a round number. 202.8 after 8 days was remarkable. I could reach 200 in my next fasting cycle. There was no need to risk my health for 2.8 pounds. This is the discipline of a sustainable practice versus the obsession of a crash diet. I wasn't trying to hit one number at any cost. I was building a lifelong approach to eating and fasting. Let me document what I created on day 8 that would support my ongoing journey. I built a new section in my fasting website called the Six Pack Tracker. This would allow me to log exercise sessions during fasts and feeding periods, a way to ensure I was maintaining physical activity and core strength throughout this lifestyle transformation. The website itself had become a comprehensive tool, tracking weight, waist, energy, mood, notes, photos, and now exercise. Everything documented, everything measurable. This is how you build sustainable change through data, documentation, and accountability. The timeline for breaking the fast. I broke the fast at midnight, transitioning from January 5th to January 6th. That gave me all of January 6th as my refeed day before starting the next fasting cycle. My plan going forward was a repeating pattern: 5-day dry fast, 1-day signal refeed, 5-day dry fast, 1-day signal refeed, 7-day dry fast, 1-day signal refeed. This would create a sustainable rhythm, fasting as the baseline, brief signaling meals to maintain muscle and metabolic function, then back to fasting. The 8-day initial fast was the foundation. Everything after would build on what I'd established. Day 8 summary. Date January 5th, 2026. Day of fast 8. Final day. Weight 202.8 pounds, down 17.2 LBS from start. Waist 41.5 inches, down 4 inches from start. Energy level 8 out of 10. Mood 9 out of 10. Decision: end fast at 8 days instead of pushing to 14. Key observations: 2-mile walk revealed body was reaching limits. Conscious, careful decision to end fast created six-pack tracker for exercise logging. Planned careful refeeding protocol. I just couldn't go for day 9. Listening to body signals. Final fast results: total weight lost 17.2 pounds, total waist reduction 4 inches, total duration 8 days, approximately 192 hours, average daily weight loss 2.15 pounds, percentage of weight goal achieved 24.6%, percentage of waist goal achieved 29.6%. Day 8 was the end of my first extended dry fast, but not the end of my fasting-focused lifestyle. I had proven to myself that I could do this. I had lost 17.2 pounds and 4 inches off my waist. I had experienced the mental clarity, the energy, the freedom from constant eating. Now came the crucial next step: breaking the fast correctly, signaling with precision, and preparing for the next cycle. The next video will cover day 9, January 6, 2026, the signaling day, the day I ate that quarter pound of brisket from Abby's Texas BBQ and discovered that it was indeed the perfect signal for a fasting-focused life. Thank you for watching. Total time fasted, approximately 192 hours, 8 full days. Total weight change, down 17.2 pounds, 220.0 to 202.8. Total waist change, down 4 inches, 45.5 to 41.5. Key milestone: fast completed successfully. Broke fast at midnight. Overall assessment: mission accomplished. 8-day dry fast completed with excellent results. Next video, day 9, January 6, 2026. The signaling day, a quarter pound of brisket.